Okay, hello everybody. Today we're here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 in Just Flight's Piper Tomahawk. We are at my home field of Whiskey Bravo Whiskey, Wyoming Valley. Wyoming Valley has two runways, one is asphalt and the other is a 2,193-foot grass strip that's only open in the summertime. Lately I've been practicing real soft field landings on that grass strip, and I thought it would be fun to do a lap around the pattern and talk about what goes into taking off and landing on the grass. Let's hop into the pilot seat and get started. We'll start with the before starting engine checklist. There we go. So we'll check that our doors are closed and latched. Look up here. There we go. Closed and latched. Looks good. Check that our seat backs are secure, seat belts are on. Check our circuit breakers are all in. That looks good. Check that our carb heat's off. It is. Parking brake is set. We get the fuel selector to the left fuel tank. And let's just check that everything is synced with my joystick so I don't make that mistake. All right, that looks good. Now go to the engine start checklist. We'll prime it 1, 2, 3, and leave it open on the last stroke of the primer. Next, we'll crack the throttle. Head over to the battery and alternator, turn those both on. It's not on the checklist, but we'll turn on the strobes as a visual indicator that we're about to start the engine. All right, mixture to full rich. There we go. We'll check that the prop area is clear. Let's open up the window so they can hear us. Clear prop. Looks good except for the ground handling guy that we can't get rid of. Feet are on the brake, keys are in the ignition, and turn it over. RPMs are up to 1,000 and we do have oil pressure. All right, that looks good. Next page. And we're on warm-up 800 to 1200, so leave it at 1000, and we'll bring the mixture back to lean for ground operations. That's the end of the before start checklist. So we've got the radios on already. We'll turn on the transponder into standby. And we'll get everything dialed in here for our frequencies.
International Airport, information Juliet. 1754 Zulu. Wind calm.
All right, nice winds calm type of day, although there is a little bit of wind showing on the windsock, so that's the Asus from AVP, which is a couple miles away, which might not be the same wind that we have here at Whiskey Bravo Whiskey.
Arriving and departing runways 22.
I'll dial in the altimeter. That's a pretty high altimeter. So we've got high pressure front.
Altitude. And if
sweeping over us, which is actually giving us some pretty nice weather.
Runway and hold short
unseasonably warm weather. It's very nice.
Advise on initial contact. You have information. Juliet.
And that's reading just above field elevation. Looks good. Wyoming Valley traffic. Piper 2432 Golf. Taxi from the ramp to runway 9. Hold short. Wyoming Valley. Got a student pre-flighting over there. And we do have this ground handling guy we can't get rid of, so we'll just pretend that he's not there, because I'm definitely going to whack him with the wing as we head on by. As we start rolling forward, I'll check my brakes. They work. You always want to check that before you get too far. And then we're going to hang a left. You can see the windsock has light wind favoring runway 9. Runway 9 is the grass strip, and as I mentioned, it's just under 2,200 feet, so it's also a bit of a short field. So we'll be doing both a soft field and a short field takeoff from the grass strip. So we've got the parking brake set. We'll go into the ground check, which is the run-up. We'll bring our throttle up to 1800 for the mag check. There we go. Now we'll do mag left. Got a good drop. Don't mind my head tracking, freaking out. Mag right. When I lean down too far, sometimes the sensor can't see it, and it jumps like it just did there. Check our vacuum suction. It's that little gauge up there. It's right centered at 5. That's in the green. Check our oil pressure and temperature. They are both in the green. Carb heat is off. We'll turn that on. And we've got a good drop from carb heat, back to off. Bring throttle back down. And that's the end of the ground check. Now before we take the runway, we're going to do our flow, so we'll turn on our landing light, our strobe lights, and we'll make sure that our transponder is into mode C. Also check our flight controls. Right aileron down, left aileron down. Flight controls are free and correct. Mixture to full rich, fuel pump on. Carburetor heat off, engine gauges we'll check again, everything looks good. Seat belts, seat backs, all good. Flaps. Now for this we have to consult our checklist. So we are doing a soft field takeoff with obstacle clearance. So for that we need the first notch of flaps, so we'll set that now, verify that they are both set. Looks good. For the Skyhawk M's that I fly, same procedure, flaps 10 for a soft field takeoff. We're going to pull back on the elevator to bring the nose wheel up and protect the nose wheel. We're going to get airborne a little early, so as soon as it pops up, we're going to stay in ground effect, accelerate to 61 knots, climb at 61 until we get over our obstacle, and then nose down to 70, which is VY, and climb at VY, retracting the flaps at that time. It's a lot. It happens very, very quickly.
Switching to 126.3.
We'll close up the window here. Parking brake released. Valley traffic, Piper 2432 Golf, departing runway 9, remaining in the pattern, Wyoming Valley. Alright, there it is, the grassed strip. Now the trick is not to stop here. We don't want to use the brakes and dig in the nose wheel into the grass. So we're just going to keep on rolling and go full throttle. We are trying to pop a bit of a wheelie here by pulling back on the controls. So it's going to cause the nose to come up, but we don't want to be so aggressive that we have a tail strike. I'm feeling for the mains to come off the ground, and then they are, so I'm going to level out right over the ground here and fly in ground effect because we're not fast enough yet to climb out of ground effect. So we've got to accelerate to 61, which we've got, and now we can climb. We've got to keep on climbing until we get over these trees, which are the very real obstacle that's at the end of this runway. And then once we're clear those trees, then we can nose down to 70 and bring in the flaps at the same time. And there we go. I usually fly Cessnas in the sim, and the Piper Tomahawk definitely takes some getting used to. It definitely climbs slower and it's more nose heavy, and you can really feel it here on this climb out. I find it very hard in the sim to do a soft field takeoff because you can't feel anything. So in real life, you are feeling for when the mains come off the ground. You can't see them, right? They're underneath you, so you have to feel that. And it's very hard to tell in the sim when that's happened. It's also hard to tell when you're in ground effect by feel in the sim because there is no feel. You're doing it all visually. Alright, we're at 1100. We can make our crosswind turn. Wyoming Valley traffic, Piper 2432 Golf, left crosswind, runway 9, Wyoming Valley. Get the 8th Street Bridge just underneath us. Alright, traffic pattern altitude for Whiskey Bravo Whiskey is 1,500 feet. And we're almost at traffic pattern here on the crosswind, getting ready to turn downwind. Coming up on traffic pattern altitude, just as we turn left downwind. Wyoming Valley traffic, Piper 2432 Golf, left downwind, runway 9, full stop, Wyoming Valley. So we're going to power back. I'm actually not sure what the power setting is for the Piper Tomahawk for a straight and level flight at about 80 knots. It's usually 2,000 for the Skyhawks that I fly, so I'm going to use 2,000 and we'll adjust that if we need to. I also find with the Tomahawk that I have to put nose down trim, a fair amount of nose down trim here at this point of the pattern. Otherwise the nose keeps wanting to pick up. Maybe I have too much power, I'm not quite sure. But you can see I overshot my pattern altitude a little bit while I was fiddling around with the trim. Now this is the interesting part of the pattern for runway 9. You get to play chicken with this mountain that's right in front of you. I've powered back to 1500 because we're a beam our touchdown point, and I'll put in my first notch of flaps, and look at this mountain coming straight towards us. So this is the intense part of landing on runway 9, this base turn right here, where you are playing chicken with the mountain. Wyoming Valley traffic, Piper 2432 Golf, left base, runway 9, full stop, Wyoming Valley. Alright, our altitude's looking pretty good. $1,100. In fact, we're just a tad low. I usually want to be at 1,000 as I'm turning final. Last notch of flaps go in on this leg. And the Tomahawk really drops like a stone, like most aircraft, when you put in the last notch of flaps. We're a bit fast, but we're going to bleed that off. Wyoming Valley traffic, Piper 2432 Golf, final runway 9, full stop. So we've got to come in just over the taxiway and plop ourselves onto the grass. Our goal is to land as softly as possible while keeping the nose wheel up. And if we need to put a little power in right at the end to avoid landing hard, we'll do that. It's looking pretty good. We're gonna keep on holding it here in ground effect. Hold it, keep the nose up, hold it, nose up, hold it. About to set down on the mains. Ah, beautiful. There's the nose. And now the nose is coming down. Now we're going to keep pulling back the controls to keep the nose off as much as possible. And now we're on the asphalt, so we can relax on the controls. We did it! We pulled off a nice soft field landing, and it was also a short field. Not too bad. So now we're going to back taxi here on runway 9. We make a CTAF call announcing our back taxi. Once we clear 9, then we're going to stop just past the hold short lines here on the taxiway. Make our call. Valley traffic, Piper 2432 Golf, clear runway 9, Wyoming Valley. We'll do our after landing checklist. We've got our strobes off, flaps are back up, transponder to standby. Valley traffic, Piper 2432 Golf, taxi from runway 9 to the ramp, Wyoming Valley. And we're going to park right back where we started from. So as we're finishing up here, I'll bring up the flight track for this actual pattern work that we did. Now I did a couple more laps around the asphalt runway that didn't make the video, but this shows you how the two patterns intersect. And yeah, we did pretty good here, flying in the sim, some nice square patterns. I think the interesting thing about the grass strip at Whiskey Bravo Whiskey is that there's trees at both ends of it, and once you pop up in ground effect, you are committed to make it work because the trees are coming up quickly. So I hope you enjoy realistic general aviation content like this. If you do, be sure to click that like button, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, as always, for flying along with me, and stay tuned for further flight adventures.